Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 735, 735, March 28th, 2019, Thursday. Thank you so much for tuning in. My oh my. You know, today may not be the best TowerGate video you've ever seen, but I assure you it will be the craziest. We have some crazy stuff to talk about today. Really crazy. Before I get to it, though, I just want to make a comment. Yesterday's video, at the end, I said, yeah, I got a question for you. Which of these three countries were involved in the Spygate frame-up operation against Trump? And I offered up Russia, Ukraine, and the UK, or Great Britain. And, of course, I checked the comments section, and I found where Patty squared me away. Thank you so much. Patty Willing, she squared me away. Of course, we know Russia wasn't involved in anything as far as the Spygate's concerned, and but the other two choices, obviously, Great Britain and Ukraine. But Patty, of course, reminded me in her comment that Australia, that's right, the Aussies, they were involved in this too. So there you go. Thank you so much, Patty, for squaring me away. It's not the first time. That's why she's here, to make sure I get it right. Thank you so much, Patty, for keeping me on the straight and narrow. And by the way, if we want to talk about a fourth country, maybe Estonia. Anyway, let's get to it. This is some crazy stuff we're going to go through today, folks. And I'm telling you, this is not a joke. This is not from The Onion. If you're a new subscriber or first time you've ever watched this video, I'm not doing comedy. This is actually, I'm going to report to you today facts. Facts that are in the public domain. You can go read the stuff yourself. It's all true. You're not going to believe some of the things we're going to learn today. Okay, let's start right here. Well, it appears that the Jussie Smollett drama has taken several more crazy twists. So, the Cook County State Attorney, Kim Foxx, says that the Smollett file was sealed accidentally or inadvertently. Oh, and by the way, Foxx, who said she recused herself, didn't actually recuse herself. She admits that she participated in the decision to drop all 16 felony counts against Smollett. And she says it was a just outcome. Now, the Chicago PD had begun earlier today releasing the files. They directed you to a website where you could go read the files from the case. And, of course, the cops are saying that they have pictures of Jussie driving around in his vehicle with one of the Assandiero brothers in the vehicle with him. And that was on January 25th and on January 27th, which is the day that the hoax attack occurred. Now, the feds, of course, are still investigating the letter that was sent to the Empire TV show addressed to Smollett, which we all believe, at least in majority of people's opinion, that was actually written by Smollett. Sent the letter to himself. That's still being investigated by the feds. Oh, wait a minute. This just in. As I just mentioned to you, the Chicago PD had put online a link where you could go and read the entire Smollett file, but now it appears that someone has put a stop to that. Holy smoke. So someone has put a stop to the cops releasing any more files in the Smollett case. We also have a former state attorney from Chicago who worked in this very office. His name is Randy Barnett, and he says that someone very important was about to be implicated, and that is why the case is closed and sealed. What the hell is going on here? Not only that, it appears that the case has been completely wiped from the database as if it never existed. And finally, there's like 3 or 4 twists or turns here, all within a couple of hours. This all occurred within a couple hours, all these twists and turns. Then finally, we get Jussie's lawyer says he's threatening to sue. Oh my God. Okay, so let's try to get a handle on all this. The original prosecutor Fox says she had to recuse herself because she had conversations with members of the family, and of course with this woman, Chin, who's used to be a chief of staff for Michael Obama, the First Lady, Michael Obama, when we had the Obama-Rama thing going on from back in 2008 to 2016. So it appears that this lawyer now, the very fact that she got involved and stuck herself into it, she has now put herself in sort of jeopardy with her law license, because now the law board is going to review it, because apparently you're not supposed to do that when you're an attorney. You're not supposed to involve yourself, worm yourself into trying to persuade one way or another or influence an ongoing legal case, which is exactly what she did. She used her clout as being the former chief of staff to Michelle Obama to contact people to try to smooth this over for Jussie. Not allowed to do that, so she's got some problems. Then we have, of course, the mayor, the police chief, and even the guy this Maggots guy, all saying, "Oh yeah, he did it. We got the evidence. There's nothing wrong with the evidence. It's all good." But we just felt that, he decided to give up the 10 grand, and that goes back to the Chicago Police Department, and he served 16 hours of community service. What was the 16 hours of community service? Well, working for the Jesse Jackson's Push Coalition, critiquing a video for 16 hours. 16 hours of critiquing a video for the Rainbow Coalition. That's his community service. Now, this story gets even crazier, because even though all these people come out and say, "Oh yeah, he's guilty as hell. Yeah, he did it. We got the evidence, whatever." Smollett is out there saying he's innocent. He's back to his original position, which is, I'm innocent. I never did this, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. But wait a minute. If, in fact, he forfeited the $10,000, and they're saying that his community service, his working for the Push Coalition, was his community service, then that, in fact, which they said was an agreement, kind of a plea deal for them to throw out the charges, if that's the case, then essentially that's his admission of guilt. If he forfeits the $10,000 and he says he did these 16 hours of community service at critiquing video, then that essentially, and it was a deal, then that is essentially what a deal means, is you admit that you did it and come clean, and we'll work with you. And in this case, we'll drop the felony charges. You let us keep the 10 grand, and you did your community service, and we're all even, okay? But that's not what happened. So what happened? He's out there saying he's innocent. The same thing he's always been saying, that he never did this. How can you have the prosecutor, the mayor, the police chief, and others worked on the case say, "No, we got the evidence, man. We got him red-handed. We've got the evidence. It's slam dunk. We could convict him immediately." The federal grand jury already did look at the evidence and were convinced that he should be indicted. So how can it be that he claims his innocence while at the same time is admitting that there was a plea arrangement whereby he forfeited his $10,000 and did the community service working for Jesse and Jussie? So this stuff doesn't add up. There's a lot of problems here. There's a lot of problems here. And what about this former attorney that worked in that office, this Randy Barnett, saying that someone very important was about to be implicated, and that is why the case is closed? Now, Kamala Harris was interviewed today, the, of course, senator who's running for president, who, of course, got her political career started in the bedroom of Willie Brown in San Francisco. The former prosecutor who admits to smoking lots of weed after she's thrown thousands of people in jail for it, which she finds humorous, by the way. She was asked today about it, and she just was giving the old deer in the headlights, like, "Oh, I just don't know. I just can't figure this is crazy. I just don't know what's going on." You really? You think so? One or two people, I agree that, as I said yesterday, there's something going on, and it's more than just the fact that he's a rich actor and a famous person. It's more than that. That someone pulled some damn strings here, some big strings, and we know it wasn't the mayor. We know it wasn't the police chief, and we know it wasn't this other investigative attorney that worked on it, because they're pissed. So a lot of people, it's been rumored that this was somehow choreographed to kick off at the same time that Kamala Harris announced her run for president. And a lot of people are thinking that there's some sort of a connection between Kamala Harris and this Smollett thing. But then, of course, we know for a fact that Michelle Obama, Michael Obama, former First Lady, is somehow got herself wedged into this thing. So I agree that there's something going on. Somebody pretty heavy weighed in and tipped the scales of justice here. And I would not be surprised if it was either Kamala Harris or Michael Obama. One of those two would be my guess. Somehow had something to do with the way this case was dropped, the charges thrown out. And now you got Smollett, threatening to sue. Well, he should sue. Because based on what he said, he's innocent. He didn't do it. So if he's innocent and he didn't do it, then he's got a hell of a case against the Chicago PD. Because they're out there saying he did do it. They're slandering him. They're saying he's guilty as hell. He's saying he's innocent. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems with this story, and I promise you, it is not going away. I imagine somebody up in Barr's office, AG Barr, is probably watching this freak show, and he's probably thinking, man, oh man, what's going on in Chicago? Somebody get down there and figure this out. Somebody go down there and sort this damn thing out. And hopefully he will send somebody down there and sort this thing out, because, I mean, you can't have this, man. This is beyond stupid. Something's going on here, man. Something's going on. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to find Michael Obama or Kamala Harris right in the middle of it. Well, my friends, it's been a really, really bad week for the fake news network CNN. I don't know how many of you saw this interview with Mark Garagos, but he was on a radio show today, and he was ripping CNN. As you know, 2 days ago, when Avenatti was arrested and charged in New York, they also arrested and charged Garagos as a co-conspirator in all the crimes that Avenatti's apparently engaged in, or at least some of those crimes. And as a result of that, CNN immediately fired him. So, based on that fact, Garagos, of course you know he's the lawyer to the stars, and so Garagos is ripping CNN for firing him. He says that they should name themselves the Cut and Run Network. He says he has been a contributor to CNN for more than 20 years, and they cut him loose based on a press conference. I think it's a little more than a press conference, bud. And then he says, quote, "God forbid I start telling some of the stories for how I covered for their lame-ass organization, a know-nothing network." Really? I'm all ears. Mark, why don't you tell us about those crazy-ass stories of how you covered for the fake news network CNN? Tell us all about it. Apparently it didn't bother you when you were on CNN pushing the fake crap, but now that they've canned your butt, you want to tell all you know. You're a scumbag. The lawyer better lawyer up. But it gets worse. We have Wolf Blitzer. He's on his show, he's literally trying to defend Smollett. Okay, so he has who? Rahm Emanuel, the mayor, who's a hardcore left-winger, liberal, friend of the Clintons. Rahm Emanuel comes on and completely dismantles Wolf. I mean, dismantles him. Every argument, it's like, it was hilarious. I mean, I could not believe Wolf Blitzer was actually trying to make the arguments he was making. They were insane. They were nuts. They were ludicrous. And even Rahm Emanuel was like, no, Wolf, he did it. Okay, no one questions he did it. We all know he did it. I'm the mayor. Take my word for it. I've talked to the cops. I've talked to everybody involved. He did it. He's guilty. Okay, you know, but he's saying he's innocent. He's saying he's innocent, but he's guilty. He's saying he's innocent, but he forfeited the money. He accepts the terms of the agreement. He did the community service or whatever. So that's essentially agreeing to your guilt. But at the same time, he's out there saying he's innocent. It doesn't work, Wolf. I mean, so Emanuel was, Rahm Emanuel, he was getting ready to lose it. He was actually getting ready to lose it. You know, if Wolf would have pushed him a little harder, I think he would have just started screaming at him at that point, because it was hilarious. So here you got Wolf Blitzer getting totally smoked by Rahm Emanuel on the topic. After you got Mark Garagos going on the radio and ripping CNN a new one. This is after they've just been busted pushing a fake Russiagate story for the past 2 years, 2.5 years. And here's the worst part, possibly for them, is that their top news person there, so-called news person there, Rachel Madcow, she literally lost 500,000 viewers in 2 days. 500,000 viewers. Gone. Boom. Gone. And Sean Hannity, his number went up from 2.5 million views to almost 4 million in those 2 days. Lots of people clicked off CNN in the last 2 days and went over to Fox. That's the facts. The numbers are right there. So here we have Mark Garagos, who's obviously now got a beef with CNN. He's chewing on their ass. We have Rahm Emanuel taking Wolf Blitzer to school, and that's on the heels of Madcow losing 500,000 viewers. Oh my God. CNN's going to crash and burn. And keep in mind, they're facing a $250 million lawsuit from the kid in Northern Kentucky. And there's much more to come because they were deeply involved in the frame-up on Trump. Deeply involved. They were the ones that provided the news hook for BuzzFeed to release the dossier. And do you think that they didn't know about what they were doing? Do you think that they were innocent of that? Do you think that they were ignorant of exactly what role they were playing and what they were doing there? I can assure you that they knew everything about what they were doing and why they were doing it. They surely did. My goodness, man. What a freak show. What a freak show. And you thought Obama-Rama was over after 8 years, huh? I don't think so. It continues. We're just now getting the fallout from Obama-Rama. Holy smoke. Holy smoke in Jehoshaphat. What a freak show. I told you a couple days ago, if this continues, I'm going to start taking drugs. Because I can't handle this straight anymore. I'm going to have to be on some sort of, get my medical marijuana card or something. Because I'm going to be having some problems. I can only tolerate so much stupidity. And that's a whole other topic I haven't even gotten time to get into yet. Good old Ocasio-Cortez and the greenie meanies telling us the planet's going to end in 10, 12 years, whatever it is. The fact of the matter is, the climate change is not going to kill us. It's stupidity that's going to kill us. Stupidity is the biggest threat to the planet. Stupidity. That's it. Not climate change. Stop stupidity. We need a bill to stop stupidity. Can anyone make that happen? Can anyone make that happen? Can someone introduce a bill to try to stop stupidity and ignorance? They walk hand in hand. Where you find one, you'll find the other. Holy shit. What a freak show. How did I get on this fucking ride? I'm going to try to control myself. Oh, by the way, profanity alert. Now, let's get on. Well, it looks like Elijah Cummings is now targeting Fox News. God. Oh my God. So I guess his collusion delusion didn't work out. The obstruction thing's probably not going to play very well in Peoria. And so now Elijah Cummings wants to go after Fox because they may have neglected to run a story about Saggy Daniels. Oh my God. That's exactly what they need to, that's what the Democrats need to do now, is drag Saggy back in. She's been away for a while. Now drag her back in. Hell, she's got a new lawyer. Why not? I mean, CNN had Avenatti on their show over 100 times. They had an entire panel of CNN analysts for several weeks on there just gloating over the guy, talking about how, well, you know, these are serious people, supposedly serious liberals. Say, well, you know, Avenatti, you know, really, when you look at the field of Democrats, he's right up there, and he'll take the fight to Trump. There's no doubt about that. He could be the strongest contender in the field. Oh, my God. Oh, these people are losing it. Trump derangement syndrome. It's real. Oh my God. I know you're thinking, Mike, this is pretty crazy. You're right. No, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm just getting warmed up. It's getting crazier. Prepare yourself for this one. Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush has a new book coming out, and yes, I know she's dead. She died in April of 2018. Yes, I know she's dead, but she's got a book coming out anyway. That's pretty crazy in itself. Don't you think? I know. I think I'll write a book and release it after I'm dead. That's stupid. No. In the book, Barbara Bush is going to blame Trump for her heart attack. Oh boy. She says that Trump caused it by attacking Jeb Bush. By attacking Jeb during the debates. Oh. Oh, you mean that debate where your hubby was sitting there going, is that what you're talking about, Barb? Daughter of Satan? Whew. By the way, did you know that Barbara Bush had a $25 million prenup with George Herbert Walker. George H.W. Sorry, that's a little freaky even for Barb. Yeah. Although there may be some inbreeding. That would explain it. That would explain it. I've been trying to figure it out for a long time. You know, Barb, there's one thing I'd like to read in your book. And I know you're dead, by the way. But maybe we can have a seance or something. I don't know. Let's, no, put the Ouija board away. No, put the Ouija board away. Don't need it. Let's see. So she had a $25 million prenup. Yeah, I would too. I mean, George Herbert Walker Bush had a mistress for 40 years. And Barbara knew all about it. And so did the kids. Now, when you look at Jeb and you look at W and you look at all these other Bushes, yeah, there's something going on there. I figured it was just bad water, but maybe a little incest. Maybe George W, maybe W is Jeb's father. Who knows? In this crazy world. Maybe that's in the book. Maybe Michael Avenatti is the father. Who knows? I'm trying to get a hold of myself. This is serious news. I'm trying to be serious. I'm doing the best I can. It's a crazy world. It's a mad world. Isn't that what Mel Brooks said? He didn't know the half of it, man. He didn't know the half of it. This reality is crazier than anything he ever put in any of his movies. This is insanity, man. It's insanity. Yeah, what I'd like to see in that book is, speaking of heart attacks, I'd like to know what nearly gave Jeb a heart attack that he saw at that funeral. What do you think that was? Maybe that was what it was. Barb sending a message to him, letting him know that W is his daddy. Okay, let's get into some more serious news here. Oh my God. I told you it was going to be crazy, didn't I tell you that from the very beginning? Lord have mercy. Rand Paul. Rand Paul's kind of like the weather. You wake up one day, it's all good. You wake up the next day, it's like, what the? Rand Paul says that according to a high-level source, John Brennan, Mr. Potato Head, insisted Hillary's fake dossier be included in the IC report. It's only like 3 or 4 other people have said that, including Lisa Page. Now, Brennan said on at least 2 occasions that it was not part of the IC and that he didn't even see the dossier until December of 2016. Uh-oh, sounds like a big fat lie. They definitely need to get Mr. Potato Head under oath in front of a grand jury. Because I have a feeling the documents and the testimony of other witnesses are going to put Mr. Potato Head in the slam. That's what I think. That's what I think. He's got a lot of problems. Like Comey, he better lawyer up, man. And they have identified that idiot that was in front of the building at the IPAC conference shouting anti-Semitic obscenities. He has now been identified. And he is who? He was the same guy who was the special guest at the swearing-in ceremony for Rashida Tlaib. His name is Abbas Hamadeh. You could not make up something like this. You couldn't. A guy could not put this in a movie. You would never think this stuff. That anybody would even believe it. It wouldn't be believable. No, people aren't gonna believe that, man. Take that out of the script. No, people aren't gonna believe that. Jesse, what? Nah, people won't buy that shit. Holy smoke. Well, it looks like the dishonorable former director of the Federal Bureau of I'm With Her, the despicable James Comey, is now turning on his friend, Uncle Bob, the executioner. He says that he finds the Mueller report confusing and can't understand what's going on with that obstruction thing. Well, let me tell you, Jim. Let me help you out, buddy. That obstruction thing. Well, let's talk about that obstruction thing. How about that obstruction of justice and fixing the Rotten Reverend's email case? How about that, Jim? Do you remember that? When you rigged Hillary's email investigation? Let's talk about that obstruction. I think there's something there, Jim. And there's more on Jim. We'll get to it here in just a second. But let's move on to the next thing. Yes, I mean, they're turning on themselves, and this is another indication of that, and that will continue. Next up, we have Chrissy Steele. Yes, little Chrissy Steele was confronted by a reporter at a train station in the UK today. He was asked to comment on the dossier, and he said, "I have nothing to say to you." And then he took off running. Took off running with his briefcase in hand, ran all the way to a car which was being driven by his wife, and they drove away. Guess he's not going to catch that train. No, but he may be catching another train, I can guarantee you that. He's got a lot of problems too. And of course we have Andrew McCarthy was on Fox, and he says just exactly what I said yesterday, which is that there was no reason for a special counsel investigation. Yes, that's right. Let's see how Rodenstein explains that one. How is Rodenstein going to explain the reason for the appointing a special counsel? There wasn't one. All they had was the dossier, and it was bullshit, and they knew it. Uh-oh. Sounds like trouble. Sounds like trouble. Not only that, but Andrew McCarthy said one of the most troubling things that James Comey is going to be dealing with when he's in front of a grand jury is, besides the fact that he has to explain why he signed off on a FISA warrant in October of 2017, then went to talk to Trump 3 months later at Trump Tower and didn't say anything about any of that. All he talked about was the P-Gate story. That's going to be interesting. Then he goes and appears in front of Congress 9 months later in May of 2017 and says that the dossier was salacious and unverified. He signed off on a FISA warrant in October 2016, and then 9 months later he's telling the Congress that it was salacious and unverified. That's a problem, Jim. Another thing is as McCarthy points out, he goes to the Trump Tower and he's supposed to be briefing Trump because what? Why? Because Clapper told him to. Jim told me to. Jim said go over and brief Trump, but only tell him about the PP-Gate. That's right, he goes and briefs Trump, and he only tells Trump about the PP-Gate story. He doesn't tell him anything about the fact that the most important thing is that the dossier accuses him of being, him and his campaign of colluding with the Russians. Nor does he tell Trump that, hey, and 5 months ago I signed off on a FISA warrant to spy on your campaign. Doesn't tell him any of that. Just tells him about the P-Gate story. You know, that's going to be a difficult one to explain, don't you think? Oh, he's going to prison. No doubt about it. Oh, yes. Then we got Rudy, good old Rudy Giuliani, going on TV, and he asked 3 questions, for which I have the answer. He asked 3 questions. Talking about the dossier. He says, I want to know who made it up, who paid for it, and who pushed it. Well, Rudy, let me help you out with that. I've been following this story for a hell of a long time, and I think I got the answer for you, Rudy. The Rotten Reverend. Rotten Reverend. The Rotten Reverend Clinton. She's the one who made it up, paid for it, and pushed it. There you go, Rudy. Lock and load, brother. Now, guess who was representing Alexandra Chalupa? That little Ukrainian asset. Guess who was representing Alexandra Chalupa? Take a wild guess. Who do you think her lawyer was? Alexandra Chalupa. She's the Ukrainian former DNC operative that was moving information back and forth between the Ukrainian government as part of the frame-up operation. In fact, it started the Trump-Russia collusion theory. Who do you think her lawyer was? Avenatti. Oh, God. Avenatti was her lawyer. This is a freak show that never ends. It's a freak show that never ends. Every day it's something crazier. I can't believe this shit. Avenatti was Chalupa's lawyer. You gotta be shitting me. Okay, I'm gonna try to pull myself together to get through this video. As I told you, I have been doing a deep dive on Alexander Chalupa. I'll let that one go. But Avenatti was probably, maybe he and Stormy were doing a deep dive on Chalupa. We'll have to find out later in a video. Maybe in a tell-all book we'll find out. About who was doing a deep dive on Chalupa. How's that Chalupa, Stormy? Okay. So there's two stories here really tied together. One is a story that was written by John Solomon about 2 or 3 days ago in Circa. And the other part of this is just some of the things I've come up with on Chalupa. I only got a few minutes here, so I'll try to go through this very quickly. Okay, so John Solomon writes that 10 years ago, 2007, McCain's campaign, that's Senator Magoo's campaign was being roiled by concerns of Russian influence in his own inner circle. And the guys they were looking at, the same guys. Manafort, Deripaska, and Kislyak. It was the activities going on between those that caused them to cause controversy over Senator Magoo having too close relations with these individuals having ties to Russia. Oh man, how crazy is this? And Rick Davis, of course, was manager. He was the campaign manager for Senator Magoo on both of his presidential runs. Of course, at that time, Manafort and Gates had a partnership, a business. Manafort and Gates was the name of the business. And, of course, Davis was McCain's campaign chairman in both 2000 and 2008. McCain met 2 times back then with Deripaska. And what happened? The intelligence community came to Magoo and warned him. They warned him about these individuals around him, having these Russia connections. And, of course, he kind of got rid of them, although they did keep Gates around. So my question is, who recommended Manafort to Trump? I'd love to know that. Because Chalupa said that she had a gut feeling that Manafort was going to work for the Trump team, and she said that in late 2015, 5-6 months before Manafort went to work for Trump. How did Chalupa know that Manafort was going to be in the Trump campaign? She also notified the DNC in early 2016 of that fact. Manafort, of course, joined the Trump team on March 28th of 2016. How did Chalupa know that Manafort was going to be in the Trump team? Did someone put Manafort into the Trump campaign? Do you think someone put Manafort into the Trump campaign? Guess who else worked on McCain's 2008 campaign as an energy consultant? Carter Page. Chalupa thinks that Deripaska, back at that time, she thinks that Deripaska was financing Manafort. So she is basically making the allegation that she thinks that Deripaska must have put Manafort into the campaign. Who was Deripaska working with? Who came to his apartment and asked him to help him out? The FBI. The FBI went to Deripaska and said, hey, you want to help us out on this Trump thing? We're told that he laughed at him. Did he? Did he? Did the FBI work with Deripaska to get Manafort into the Trump campaign? Suck on that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. You guys have a good night. Goodbye.